Hello and welcome to another episode of DCU Daily. And today we are talking about Joker, Folie. Deux. Finally, we have a teaser trailer, and I am so excited to get into it because holy crap! Like literally, this movie looks amazing already, and we have only seen minutes of footage, if that. It's crazy, and it left an impression on me. I don't know about you guys. If you have seen the trailer, which I assume that if you were here watching this reaction, then you probably have. And watching the trailer, I just had like Arthur Fleck by the end of the trailer. I just had like this really wide grin on my face. So to talk about the trailer and really break it down and get into the musical references, get into some of the costumes, the callbacks to the first movie, all the Lady Gaga stuff. Like, what is this version of Harley Quinn going to look like? There's so many things that we have to talk about. And to do that, of course, John, you are here with us. As always, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm fine. I'm glad that, after a little bit of a kerfuffle with, Superman, I'm glad, we got something to be excited for now. And I really like that. I really like what the trailer gave us. So, things I noticed that I really liked throughout this trailer was well, the first thing that I noticed, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but I noticed that the way that the music was in the not outside of the song that was used, like the melody of like the trailer music felt very like the opening of Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Yeah,
Factory, like
dude,
"Ba-da-da,"
I was
and I
like,
like that. And
I
considering
thought
it's
they
a
were
song
gonna go
called
in that.
it's
Yeah,
a song called Pure Imagination, and a Folie Adieu is a shared delusion, a shared madness. I felt that really worked, whether it was accidental or on purpose. I'd like to think it was on purpose, but even if it wasn't, it's great touch, and I really, really liked that. I also like because like the whole basis of the original film, like everyone called it Diet Taxi Driver or Diet King of Comedy. Like you had Harley Quinn doing the famous like gun to the head that Trevor Bickle does at the end of Taxi Driver. You had that. I thought that was a nice little reference to be like, oh hey, remember, Taxi Driver, like that whole thing. I really liked that, and I liked how there was the scene. Although we only saw it in black and white, now we see it in color where we see them like dancing together on top of like the rooftop, and it's like clearly a set, and I really really liked that. I like how there were a lot of scenes that were clearly like not real, and it's like in that kind of like fake musical world that like musicals are part of, like and I'm talking about old school musicals where it was more like clearly they were like on these big, very fake looking sets, like it's clearly not of the real world. And I feel like Todd Phillips is using that to his advantage with two characters that are mad, that are like in what are categorized as insane. And I really liked that. I like how like we clearly have like it kind of bleeds into one another. Like there was like towards the beginning of the trailer, Arthur, I think, was going from like one part of the Arkham asylum to the other, or Arkham hospital. And like there's kind of like this strange, like clearly it's reality, but there's like a sense that it's like there's like the touch of that Joker madness where we have those colorful umbrellas that like show like obviously that's clearly not fake. It clearly that's like really happening, but it's like it just seems like with the way the colors are and the way that it's shot and the way that what Arthur is feeling at that point in time, it's like clearly like not totally real but also not totally fake. And I feel like that's kind of like the Joker's world and then the real world kind of bleeding into each other. And I really liked that. I like that they're really showcasing, they're really going in. Like Todd Phillips, I feel like clearly, yeah, he might like Taxi Driver a lot, but he clearly sees, as well as hopefully the other writers, know musicals. I feel like watching this is like coming from someone who knows musicals, knows like old school Hollywood musicals, knows how they work, and is really using that here to really make like something like really special. Like he's really making like the fakeness of a musical like work within the delusion of these two characters. I think that's really really cool to me. Like how he's doing that. And I'm really excited to what he has in store for that because damn,
It,
I was blown away.
yeah, like I cannot tell you, like honestly, watching this trailer, going into it, I thought we were gonna get something, akin to, we were talking about, jukebox musicals and stuff, and
Mhm.
and I really did not think I was gonna be watching and what felt like an old school music, like like a throw, like you said, like a throwback, proper musical. Plus, you start to see a little bit of a hint at what the story is. Yeah, and somehow, like for a movie that's got so much going on, they managed to keep the narrative of at least this teaser grounded in the perspective of Arthur Fleck. Like that,
Mhm.
there's so in this article, which by the way, I love the headline, "Unleash Their Bad Romance." I'm like, yes, I want that song in this movie. Um, it's
I'd
he's
love to
he's
see more of
found
like a
love.
slow acoustic
Yeah.
like waltz version. I think that would be really cool. Like obviously not like the original Lady Gaga version, but like that slower sort of maybe like a creepy vibe to it. Like really
Yeah.
truly a bad romance like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
just don't insert the
No,
song in there. I feel
no,
like
no, no. Of course
yeah,
not. I mean, it's
obviously
gonna be,
like
yeah. There's,
yeah.
dude, but like, look. So here's some. So it's it's a whole meet cute happening in the trailer. I mean, this article it has some of the quotes that I want to get into. So you see that there. Basically, there's this part in the trailer, which it's about halfway into the trailer where, it's like his doctor, I think, or I met, one of the medical
Yeah, played by
professionals,
Steve Coogan. Yes.
Steve Coogan, who's amazing, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know he was in this movie. Like, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't know if I
Um,
saw that or forgot or what, because
I
I know Brendan
Yeah,
Gleeson is in it. I'm curious with you know,
right,
what his
and
role is.
so like for that particular moment, well, I was surprised. And then I like went back to that scene like three times, and I was like, then I turned on the closed captions, and I really wanted to hear like what Arthur says in response to the question, like what has changed, and he's like, I'll tell you what's changed. I'm not alone anymore. Like, and then we should be talking more about that. It was that was the part that stood out to me the most in terms of like what this trailer accomplishes is
Yeah,
at the end of the first movie. I mean, towards the end of the first movie, before the big shooting and everything, um, Arthur is he's a lonely guy, and then even by the end of the movie, yes, he has the admiration of a certain group of people who admired him or cheered him on and whatever for
yeah.
what he did.
It's not
He's
personal.
still, it's not
Yeah,
personal. It's he's in terms of there, because there's a difference between being alone and being lonely, and I think
that's
Arthur
why.
Fleck is lonely.
Yeah, like that's why. Like at the end of the trailer, it's more like I want to know the real you. Like that's like
Right.
it's more about this like personal connection between these two characters. And what I really like with what they're going for here, doing something different with Harley Quinn because again, I feel like Harley Quinn is just it's just become so fucking tiresome in this case. Like I don't like the hair. I have grown to really hate the character of Harley Quinn. But here I was like, okay, Todd Phillips, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. So like I hope that like Lady Gaga, she has proven to be a great actress, just as much as she is a great singer. And I trust Todd Phillips enough that he's gonna give us something unique here. And I like how it seems like obviously it's just a trailer. We only get so much, all that. I know, I understand. But I feel like with what we're getting here is more of like an equal relationship that's still
Right.
obviously, creepy and obsessive and abusive. I feel like we're getting more of
Yes.
like a Bonnie and Clyde thing rather than an
That's a
abusive
very good
relationship.
comparison. I love that one. Yes. Yes.
Yes, I feel
Exactly.
like I really like that because because I feel like the way to do Harley Quinn now is just not doing whatever the fuck DC Comics is doing. Is just making her this Yas Queen girl boss
Yes,
character,
Queen.
and it's just like everyone's just fucking sick of it, and it's just like, oh, she's supposed to be a role model or a hero. It's like, no, she's a fucking insane terrorist. What are you talking about? So I just feel like I just like the uniqueness. Obviously, it's grounded on the fact that these two people are insane, but it seems more equal, and I really like that because my favorite versions of Harley Quinn are usually it's the original one, and then another one I really liked was the one from the Telltale games, the Batman Telltale
Mhm.
games. The way they did that Harley is clearly someone who is insane, but like can still like carry a conversation. Like she's still really intelligent and she can hold the
Yeah.
conversation with someone and she's not just like "Wee-ah," like oh like look how fucking weird and quirky I am type bullshit, but she's like actually like legitimately a crazy person, but like still like of enough sound mind to like just be there, you know. And then what they also did there is like made it so that the Joker was in love with her rather than her in love with the Joker. I felt that that was like a cool way of spinning things. So I like that. I like how they're doing that here. It seems like more like she loves him and he loves her rather than she's obsessed with him and he's
Yes.
like, okay, fucking lick my fucking shoes, like that type of shit. Where he's like, I don't give a fuck about you, type of, which isn't innately like, okay, it's bad. Obviously, it's an
It
abusive relationship, but the original version was more of like the cautionary tale of like obsession and
yeah.
manipulation and how like intelligent the Joker really was and how he got this poor woman who was seemingly like this intelligent psychiatrist to just fall head over heels for this guy continually over and over and over and over again. And they really made that work. But I feel like a lot of people are just like, no, you can't have an abusive relationship. Like, famously, a lot of the stuff in the David Ayer Suicide Squad, there was a lot of abusive stuff in that movie, but it got cut out because WB didn't want the Joker to showcase he's abusive. He's a villain, but okay. Like, I
it
don't
was
know
yeah.
the way they made it, like the way they tried to. It's like I understand that it's uncomfortable and it's disturbing, obviously, but it's like, but the fact it's angering because like the fact that the movie we got, it seems like a hell almost like a healthy relationship, and you have all like the hot topic nerds that are like, "Oh, I wish I was like Joker and Harley." It's like, no, that's not the point. That's not the point of the characters. It's not like
Right.
like this tragic love story. It's abuse. It's terrible. It's manipulation. But with here, it's like it seems equal, but it's like they're both mad, so it's there's gonna be some fucked up backstabbing. Like there was, I don't know, what obviously we don't know what the context was, but there was the point where Harley puts a gun at the Joker. We don't know
Yeah.
if like that was like some
Yeah.
sort of
Performance?
like
Like,
a
it seemed like a
performance, like
performance,
it's
yeah.
during like a dance number
Yeah.
for the
Yep.
musical type thing, or if it's like a genuine like she's gonna backstab him for something. And but I like how it's like obviously something built on like terribleness, but it's not necessarily like what we've gotten before with abuse. It might be a different kind of abuse, and I feel like that's an interesting way to take it, especially with how Harley Quinn is just it's just become like so boring and just so like tiresome, and it's just like just like DC, just stop trying to force it on us. We're done. Todd Phillips, you can do you we got you. You're good. You're
Yeah.
totally cool, man. But DC, please fuck off with Harley Quinn because we were so sick of it. But yeah, that was a major thing I liked in this trailer. Like that's really intriguing. I'm really curious of how they do that, especially, with what we've gotten. It's so intriguing. And I love this shot too. This shot right here, like of him screaming
Mhm.
in the rain. Great shot.
To me, it's just the biggest part of this trailer that stuck out was the fact that they really give us a very different dynamic between the two
Hmm.
characters. Like, it is like truly a shared madness in the truest sense. And I'm still thinking about like the part where like Lady Gaga's like you haven't she has like a certain sense of admiration for this guy, like right,
Hmm.
and that's a carryover from the last movie. Like maybe how they start off, like yeah, there it is. There's a quote. So I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have. And then she does the whole she mimes the whole shooting herself, which is reference to what happens at the end of the first movie, and you could tell at the end of the first movie, Joker has a few fans, and or who supported his brand of anarchy, I guess.
Hmm.
And so maybe that's maybe where this starts, and then it develops from there. So it's like this weird, twisted romance in a way, and I think that's very
Hmm.
interesting to see where that goes. Because the one thing we didn't really get out of this trailer is we didn't really get to see a lot of the twisted part of it. It's just, I mean, it's sort of hinted at through the various shots of, them doing their performances and such. But do we really get to see just how twisted this whole thing is going to be? Like, is it going to be
Hmm.
a bad romance, or are they going to play it straight? Because the part about Joker, Arthur Fleck being lonely and now no longer being lonely, it seems like they've been playing that straight from the beginning. Like that part of it, which is why the first movie did so well as it did, because despite everything that happens in that film, somehow you still are like there's something that people can relate with regards to like who Joker is, who Arthur Fleck is as a person, because all of us like when we feel lonely at times. I mean, that's no excuse to go out and shoot a dude, but like I'm just saying like there was something there in that character, whether he's a villain or an anti-hero, however you consider Joker in the first movie, you could relate to some of his struggles, especially what a lot of what he goes through and what other
Right.
people around him put him through. And like like you said when we were last talking about this movie, was the first film they all marketed it completely as in the wrong. All it takes is one bad day. Well, clearly he has
Hmm.
had his bad day. So now I'm wondering like what's like the trigger point here? Like in this trailer, they're watching a movie. I think the two of them, Harley and Arthur, and then she's like, "Let's get out of here." And then he turns toward her. It's almost like he had accepted his fate up until that point, but now he sees like, well, maybe there's a future beyond just being in here. And
Yeah.
clearly, we see them out on the streets. So I mean, I wanted to like kind of get into a little bit of like, do you see any hints of what the plot of this movie is gonna look like? Because obviously, it's gonna be the romance between the two of them, and you get
Hmm.
a lot of musical performances around that. But like, where do we kind of go beyond that? Because that's pretty open ended. Like where do we? I
Yeah.
mean, we know where we're gonna start, but where do we end this story?
I think it's all about, because yes, we did get, you know, I feel like we're gonna get more. Again, this is just my theory, but maybe more of like a full transformation into like the actual Joker. Like we got hints of that with the last film, but like I feel like it would be really interesting to like it's all about him um becoming what we know of as the Joker, because obviously the Joker is a mystery. Like that's what makes him so scary, is that he's a mystery. And I feel like even though we did get that backstory in the first movie, I feel like it didn't totally ruin the character, because this is just another version and I like, how they did that. I feel like even though Joker worked as a one-off, he's insane. He's gonna, you know, do this over and over and over again. He's gonna maybe eventually meet Batman. Who knows? But I feel like by the end of this film, it's either going to be the two of them together, fully embracing their roles of what we know them as, like Joker and Harley Quinn versus the world type of thing, and they just do whatever they want, or it's like Harley Quinn is going to backstab him and she's going to fuck him over, and then and then Joker gets that bad day, like that truly bad day. Not like him, not like her just, oh, I'm gonna
Right.
break up with you, and then he just goes crazy. No, nothing like
Yeah.
that. But like something like truly horrifying where he just fully becomes the Joker. He's not Arthur Fleck anymore. He's just the Joker. And like he eventually, I feel like with what they're teasing here, which could be really cool, is that the Joker is more of a concept than a person that like maybe obviously Todd Phillips doesn't want to go too far into like the Batman side of things, which is fine. It's just about the Joker. But I feel like what we might get like sort of a tease for it if like maybe Todd Phillips does want to cater to like more of like that Batman side, those the Batman fans is like this Joker, Arthur Fleck, will eventually like die and go away, blah blah blah. And there's always going to be a Joker, like because he's got like a legion of fans. There's gonna be someone to pick up the makeup, I guess, or someone
Right.
who's
Yeah.
gonna go into like acid or something, like someone who's gonna become more of that. And
Well,
it's
I
just
hope not
like,
literally because I didn't really like that. I mean, that part was like a little over the top too comic booky from the Suicide Squad one, where they're like, "If you love me, you will fall into this acid for me, and then completely bleach your skin." I'm like, that was a little for the rest. Anyway, I don't. That
yeah.
wasn't my favorite part of the movie. Anyway, I
But I
digress. You were saying,
like that how it would go if they were going for that. Obviously, whatever Todd Phillips has in mind, it's probably going to be great, and I'm cool for. But I
yeah,
feel like it would be really awesome if they go for more of like kind of feeding into the Batman mythos, not totally, but a little bit, and like the idea of Joker becomes like a concept, and like he eventually becomes like the guy we know him, but it's not Arthur Fleck, it's just some other guy. And we don't know because that's the whole like we get the mysterious Joker with no backstory eventually, and that's the character that becomes like this scary, like, you know, psychopath, like beyond like almost like has like some Machiavellian traits type of thing, and really go for that. That's not Arthur Fleck. It's just that is gonna be someone in the future who's gonna fight Batman. And I wouldn't mind that. I know some people have been like kind of like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like the Joker. I think the Joker as a concept is just innately scary. Like I think just like the
yeah,
idea of like someone who's that insane, who's that much of a psychopath, just doing the shit, and it'll be continual because that's like the worst of humanity will always exist,
right.
no matter what. So we have like the contrary of like the dichotomy of the best of humanity and the worst of humanity. So like, because I know in some like Elseworld stories, the Batman has become like a concept. I know
Right.
Last
Yeah.
Night on Earth, I think in the Detective Comics number 27, like 75-year anniversary, something like that, there was a comic where it was like a bunch of short stories, and like it's far off in the future, and like Bruce has like cloned himself, and like
Yeah.
there's like the 27th clone in the far off future. It's like you can either go free or help the world as Batman, and they always choose to become Batman because the world needs Batman, because the world needs that innate
It's
good to fight the innate evil that humanity
exactly.
provides. So I don't mind if the Joker becomes a concept, because I think that's a cool idea, and I feel like that could be a way to go, like, leave it open ended, but like have it end here. Like it's a two-part movie, even though that's not what Todd Phillips envisioned. I feel like that would be like really cool. I know not a lot of people
Yeah.
like that, but I think it's cool. But that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, it's also just it feels like with this movie, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time as far as symbolism around these characters goes, right? Because even in the Dark Knight trilogy, as far back as Batman Begins, like on that plane ride back from wherever Bruce Wayne ends up with the League of Shadows, somewhere in the Himalayas, I assume.
Hmm.
Um, he's talking about like if I can become a symbol, then that's something that becomes everlasting, and then that
Yeah.
idea is a thematic spine of the whole trilogy, and ultimately Christopher Nolan pays that off with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, where it was an homage with the whole like your middle name is Robin, it's a good name, you should use that, like that. It wasn't literally that he was going to be Robin. It was just more there was a passing of the baton, and that's somebody that, and they had a Batman statue, and it was even at the end of the second movie, The Dark Knight, the greatest superhero movie ever made. It was like he's a silent guardian, a watchful protector. He's the Dark Knight. He is. It's more of an idea. It's a symbol, and that endures, not necessarily the person behind the mask. That
Mhm.
could change, and I think to that end, the Joker was the antithesis
Yeah,
to
antithesis.
to
No, you're right. You're
to
right.
Batman. Um, but we have it. But then we kind of got into with DCEU. I felt like a lot of things were very much. There wasn't as much like symbolic, thematic nuance to the characters in that way. Like the Batman in the DCEU seemingly already went through that phase and said, I'm doing this for life. And there was nuances, but it wasn't like the Joker in the DCEU ever felt like that. It was very much on the nose with everything they were doing. It was I like to refer to Jared Leto's Joker as gangster Joker, like
Yeah.
which we haven't. Whereas Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't. He was he was playing both sides. He wasn't with the mafia, but he also obviously was not with Batman or the good guys. He was just an anarchist. And Jack Nicholson's Joker back in the 90s or in 89 film was not any of that. He was very much a straight and narrow, comic booky version of the character. Whereas now we're getting a very different interpretation with Arthur Fleck. And like you mentioned, if it's just an idea, because I don't know if if remind me, did they ever I know they refer to him as the Joker, or like he wants to be called the Joker, but
Yeah.
is he like officially known as the Joker now to the world in
I
this
mean,
movie
no,
universe?
outside of like I think Arkham State Hospital, that's who he's known as because his only public appearance with him
Right.
doing this stuff, can you introduce me as Joker? And that's
Right. Yeah.
essentially who everyone knows him as. He's just Joker. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he might be obviously, in it says in the trailer, like the guy with is saying, "Hey, Fleck, you got another." So clearly, they know him as Arthur Fleck.
Right.
So I feel like um what they're doing is clearly we have Arthur Fleck as the Joker, but maybe eventually, like, yeah, we'll get that idea because we have that like Joker cult, the Jokers, like Batman Beyond. But yeah, I liked.
I'm liking there's a
I'm really
reference,
curious with
dude.
what this is about because
By the
some
way, that
people,
guy in the middle, the mask that he's got, like let me go back to this picture. That mask looks like the exact mask that they used in the opening scene of The Dark Knight. All the Jokers are wearing that mask, and that looks like a nice tribute or callback to the Dark Knight. I mean, it looks
yeah,
very similar. It's a little out of focus, but it looks like that's the Joker
yeah,
mask that Heath Ledger's Joker wore at the beginning of that movie.
yeah, and
Um,
a lot of people have figured, oh, is this Arthur Fleck's delusion? Are these his actual fans? Or his delusion? Is it like his like super ego and id type of thing going on, or is it like an action? Is like it seems like it is real because obviously we see the guy get hit by the police car.
yeah,
But I thought it would be like interesting, like, oh, maybe that's in his head, like, oh, it's like actually real, and the police is actually hitting them, even though it's really in his head, and like all that. But I real like this as well as like a lot of the shots in this, like. I really feel like there's a lot of like really inventive camera work going on here. Not like the original film didn't. Like obviously that was invented, but like again, like when we're having more and more and more of the delusion of these two characters, mainly
yeah,
Arthur, but both of them. We're getting like this really like crazy, like him getting, I don't know, again, we don't know the context, but him getting like pulled away in the Arkham State Hospital, maybe to like get like electroshock therapy or something like that.
yeah,
And he's getting pulled away and he's laughing, like the way that it's shot. Yeah, like this, it's like I feel like it's something out of like this weird,
This
like
dude, this shot looks like it could fit right into the Tim Burton Batman movies.
yeah, like it
It
seems like
it
a
could you could just put
neo-gothic
this in
sort
there.
of
Yeah,
like something out of like an Alex Proyas movie or
right.
something like that. Just like something like really weird and insane. And I like that was just cool to me. Like I like, damn, this is like really fucking weird. Like
Dude,
it looks
yeah.
like it's like it's combining like so many different things. Like obviously
So
it's combining
surreal.
like
Yeah.
it's combining Scorsese, it's combining I feel like it's combining old Hollywood. I feel like it's combine like there's a little bit of Giallo in there as well. I feel, not a ton, but like sort of that like weird, like sort of like weirdness to it, like the out of like reality sort of vibe it has.
Yeah.
And I don't
Dude,
know, it's just like God, it looks so good. It looks
I
so
mean,
good. Like the lipstick on the fucking window, that was fucking because
perfect.
I assume that's a reference to that why so serious poster
But
for the Dark Knight
yeah,
that where the entire internet lost their fucking
love
minds when they
fucking
saw
minds, yeah.
that. So, you know,
Dude, I almost made the thumbnail for this video why so serious, and then I was like maybe call it Folie Deux because like that's more because I was like I don't know if everybody's gonna get those references or those
oh, come
callbacks,
on.
but
Whew.
um
It was only
I mean it's
16 years ago, you know.
I can't believe it was fucking 16 years ago. I that makes me feel old.
Yeah.
But this is it's great. It's also what you were hinting at a little bit. I think with whether it's the Bonnie and Clyde sort of vibe between the Harley Quinn and Joker, or
Yeah.
just the way their shared madness sort of plays out. At least in the trailer, it looks like the hospital has this musical program, and that's how they sort of start to maybe get familiar with each other, and
Mhm.
it's a means to whether it's a therapy or to cope with whatever the patients are struggling with. That's where things begin, but then we sort of get into this very much this movie scape, like a musical proper, where you just don't and kind of like the first movie, by the end of the film you get to find out that not everything you were watching was literally happening in the world of the film.
Right.
Like a lot of it was in his head.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this,
I like
like
how
you
he's
said,
really leaning into
Scorsese.
that now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like Shutter Island. That's the
Yeah.
that's to me is that if you have you I'm sure you've seen that movie, right? Like
Oh
that
yeah, I
the
finally
Leonardo
watched it
DiCaprio
last
dude.
year. I owned it, and I'm like, you know, what? I gotta fucking watch this movie, and it was so
It's
good. It
it's
was
so good.
so
You
good.
never know, especially by the end of the film. It's completely turns your perspective upside down, and you're like, I don't know how much of what I just watched was real, and I don't know how much of it was fake, how much was in this guy's head,
Yeah,
and
even
even
though as someone who
the
knew the
ending.
twist going in, because it's an older
Yeah,
movie, so
right,
you know, it's like been around for like 12 years, so I knew like the twist, but even then I was still intrigued with like, okay,
right.
like it's still like okay, a good twist shouldn't like ruin a movie for you. You should like
Hmm.
be able to like see it like okay, how the like for instance, I knew the twist of Fight Club, I knew the twist of Sixth Sense. When I watched those movies for the first time, I'm like, okay, I know the
Yeah.
twist. Let me try to deconstruct the movie and see if it still works. And they do. They do exceptionally well, and that's what good twists are good for. It's not just like a twist for the sake of a twist. It's a twist that like causes you to like, okay, now I got to watch it again to see how different is it, and does it change my perspective? Does it change the movie? Does it change the characters and how that works? So I feel like, yeah, like we have like that, you know, like the
Yeah.
again really going hard with the delusion. Like Todd Phillips is like trying so fucking hard not to just make the first movie again. And even though he really didn't want to do a sequel, he's like, you know what? Okay, fine. They're gonna do a sequel with or without me. Let me just fucking do it. But you gotta give me carte blanche. You gotta let me do whatever the fuck I want. So I'm gonna do a jukebox musical insanity love story. Ha! How
Hmm.
about that? So
Yeah,
you
give me
know,
Kate Blanchett with the budget.
yeah,
Did we have Kate Blanchett with the budget? I think he means carte blanche. That's a 22 Jump Street reference.
yes. And
I'm
then the
wearing
jail.
$200 shoes and you can't see them, motherfuckers. I'm like, it's, I don't know. Well, the Joker and Harley Quinn in this trailer, it's just, as a fan of musicals, like, we were talking about it recently. Like, like what musicals can they really lean into. I would not be surprised if we got something along the lines of like, a Singing in the Rain sort of a
Mhm.
callback, or dude, if we sort of got some hint at like the kind of dancing sequences, like imagine if you end up at like a Saturday Night Fever sort of a reference. It's just
Yeah.
there's clearly like a lot of
As I
different
said, it
looks
like
and
when we were
sets.
talking about this before.
It's
Yeah, I would
yeah.
love for them to just really go like span every decade of musical and
Mm-hmm.
how that like change and how different it is. Like again, look at this shot. Look how fucking cool that is. Like that's just
Yeah.
awesome. It just
Yep.
doesn't. It like I love how not real it looks, and damn,
It's
it's
great.
fucking
It's very
awesome.
it's expressionist. It's in the sense that
Yeah,
there's a theater feel to it. It doesn't it's film, but it's theatrical.
yeah,
It's kind of like Barbie in a way, right? Like it's like a throwback. You're watching something that's very much made for the time that we live in, but it feels like it's from another time, or it doesn't just feel like it's from another time. It feels like it's timeless. And I
right,
think that's the kind, those are the movies that endure because they're relevant when they come out, but they then stand the test of time. Like that's kind of like The Dark Knight, for example. We were talking about earlier. The Dark Knight is a movie 16 years ago it came out, but it's still relevant today because it was a movie that was predicated on its ideas, not on just the plot and the characters. I mean, the characters and the plot were amazing and memorable, but the ideas of the film, like the idea of if you either live long enough, either you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, like those kind of things, people quote that to this day because those are ideas that are larger than just the story of the film. And I think that first Joker movie really caught the cultural zeitgeist at a time when people needed a movie like that. And there's a song in this that covers a lot of this trailer. It's from Burt Bacharach, and it's called "What the World Needs Now." And I think you mentioned this earlier. I feel like there's some significance to why that song is being used here, like what the world needs now. Maybe this is one of those movies. It's like Warner Brothers on a one hell of a streak now. If this is the new Warner Brothers, then I'm all for movies like this, the kind of movies that really make you think and be like, hey, it helps you kind of change your perspective on the world a little bit. Because as much as Barbie was a movie that felt like a popcorn flick for the summer, it's a movie that has ideas that stay with you after you walk out the theater, and something that you can kind of ponder on. I think the first Joker did that. I mean, obviously, Oppenheimer was another movie that had that. Now, with even though that was not a Warner Brothers movie, but the point I'm trying
right.
to make here is this Joker Folie Deux, it looks like Warner Brothers as a studio known for meddling, in all the wrong ways over the last
Yep.
decade and a half, are finally, going in a direction where the first Joker movie was almost by accident because they just really didn't care for the film, to even give it a proper budget. But this
Right.
one is very much they're behind this thing, and yet Todd Phillips is getting to do what he wants to do, and that's yeah. I look forward to that as a creative. I mean, look at this fucking scene. Like, what is going on here? Are they like sharing smoke there? Like she's inhaling the smoke that he's blowing into
I
her
mean,
body.
when you got an addiction, you got to satisfy it any
it's
way you
it's
can, you know?
it, th- this and yeah, like this shot is this shot was amazing. I'm like, that's got to be on the thumbnail for this episode. That's got to be the best
Oh,
shot
yeah.
from this whole movie. I mean, I grew up on watching musicals, both Hollywood, Bollywood, everything like that, and I'm like,
Mhm.
there's a certain classic, timeless nature to things like that, and then you still get to see the crazy Arthur Fleck side of things, where he's literally just smashing a dude. I don't know what that is. That looks like a person, to bits, and then you see Hotel Arkham. That's crazy. The cinematography, like you mentioned, this looks like exactly the black and white shot that we got before the image. Now we're getting to see that in action, and yeah, this is the last scene. And this is actually, was that the last scene? That's the one where he's like, I'm not lonely anymore. But yeah, do you have any predictions for like what this, because we have got some comments already, in the live chat where like Geek Ledger dropped in and he was like, I'm also really relieved. Oh, he said, I was not looking forward to this movie. I did not think a musical could work as a sequel to the first film, which was very serious in tone. This trailer completely threw me and I'm here for it. And then he adds to that, I'm also really relieved that didn't feel the need to make this a 3-hour movie and fill it to the brim with songs. I know there's gonna be what, like 15 songs, like, and
Yeah,
then there might like add some more original stuff. But then
yeah,
again, we may not like get 15 complete songs. They will just probably like, or they might get like kind of mixed together.
right.
Um, and then 139 minutes, which is what Wikipedia tells us. That's two
Two
hours and
hours, 19
20,
minutes.
2
Two
hours
hours,
19
19
minutes,
minutes. Yeah,
and it feels right. Like, I mean, and so far the reactions to this trailer are really positive, and it seems like it's
yeah.
turning heads, and people who weren't even excited for this, who were very skeptical,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, even like yourself, like,
This was cool. Like you could
yeah,
then this is like feeds into the whole Bonnie and Clyde thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
liked that.
It's like they're burned good, however they escape, and then they end up outside, the whole world around them is on fire, and then they're just dancing, and there's probably some song or music, and then they keep going from there. And it looks like the relationship between the two characters evolves because the looks of the two, like how Harley looks and appears, changes over the course of the
Like
movie. So
I don't know if you feel this, but like maybe it's again, maybe it's just I'm biased because I don't like Harley Quinn. It feels weird to call her Harley Quinn. Like I look at her, even with the makeup, even with like her with Joker kissing and being lovey dovey. I calling her Harley Quinn feels weird because it's just like it feels so different from that character that like it just feels like wrong to call her that. Like they're doing something so different. Like obviously, like because there was a bit of in the Killing Joke, there was the whole thing like, oh, maybe I was a stand-up comedian who blah blah blah. So there's like some like
right, yeah,
there's something with that there. Like obviously,
right,
we see that as the Joker, not just from a makeup point of view, but like a character. Even though it is pretty different, it's still like that. But like I just feel like calling her Harley is just so weird
right,
because it feels like such a major divorce. Maybe because we've been so inundated with one type of this character for so long that it just like if like when we get something interesting,
yeah,
like something like this, something intriguing we done with this character, finally, it just almost feels wrong. Like we've been calling her Harley. It's just like I almost don't want to call her Harley. I just kind of just want to call her Lady Gaga because like I just feel like that's kind of what it is. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just my thoughts on it. It just feels weird. Like not in a bad way, not in a bad way. Like I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. It seems like they have really good chemistry. And again, Lady Gaga, mainly from A Star Is Born, shows that she can act. And
yeah.
so, like, I'm excited. I'm excited for her. When initially I was like, oh, fucking Harley Quinn again. But it's like, no, they're doing something interesting here. But it just feels weird to call her Harley. I'm like, like that.
It's
Yes,
That's
it's
true.
true, but it doesn't sound right. Like, what?
Yeah, no, that's fair because it's like you said, even going back to Batman the animated series, they had a very, I mean, it's in Batman the Animated Series, you get a version of Harley Quinn that I think became obviously iconic to the point where they introduced her in the comics. But then when they started adapting her in the recent years, just starting with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, that was very much kind of based on that sort of a vibe. And then because it blew up so much, everything has been like that since. Whereas I think in the comics we have seen like that you could take the character in different directions, and then also here, of course, it says it's based on characters from DC. Like the director and the writer, they have the creative freedom to do what they want with the character,
Hmm.
taken in a new exciting direction. And I'm excited to see
I'm
that
cur
because
I would love to see this in IMAX. That would be fucking awesome. Like,
well, it's
that's
filmed for
gotta
IMAX,
be an
so
experience.
that's good. I mean, this movie is now climbed into like, my, I want to say, top three, easy top three most anticipated movies the rest of the year.
Yeah,
And I'm really excited to see what that new Planet of the Apes movie looks like. I'm
yeah,
excited to see what this looks like. I mean, Creature Commanders is not a movie, but like I want to see what that looks like because that's the first look at the DCU, and I want to know like what the vibe of that is going to be, like what kind of animation are we
yeah,
about gonna get, things of that nature. And then we have a lot of DC, like the Penguin, like again another completely different universe that sort of stands on its own. And it's, as a DC fan, it's good to see that we're gonna get three different projects from three different universes that all sort of are within this larger DC you know portfolio, whether it's DC Elseworlds or the DCU, and they all have something very interesting to say. And it's not just uh, I mean, we don't have the Arrowverse anymore. We don't have like
Thank
we're
God.
getting. It seems like we're going in a direction now where everything is going to be top notch quality. Like, and they're giving the creators full autonomy to do what they need to do and support that creative process. And oh, there's Geek Ledger like also mentioned. Honestly, I hope Todd Phillips partners with DC Studio for a DC Black label separate from Elseworlds, but a little shared universe of DC villains in a world without DC heroes. What do you think about that idea?
I've wanted that since Mike Flanagan pitched a Clayface movie. So make it happen and give Mike Flanagan his fucking Clayface movie. Cause
Yeah.
like body horror plus Mike Flanagan, give me all of that now. Take all of my money now. And the
Hmm.
fact that Warner Brothers DC, they're like, no, we don't want to do that. It's like, are you fucking stupid? He's like, all right, fine. I'll just keep adapting Stephen King stuff. So I'm super excited for his Dark Tower series, but like I
I
would
mean, it's
still love.
whatever it's gonna be is gonna be better than the movie. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yes.
saying.
Okay, the shit I just took was better than the fucking movie. But like Mike Flanagan doing like a Clayface movie,
Yeah.
I'd love to see like a Mr. Freeze movie where it's like more of like the
Oh my
tragedy of
god.
him losing his
Yes.
wife and doing that. That would be awesome. I'd love to see like kind of like a Two-Face thing where it's like bipolar, like sort of, multiple
Yeah.
personality disorder type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you could do a lot with not even just Batman villains, maybe even like Superman, but like because I think he mentioned Lex Luthor, like kind of
Yeah.
like the
Lex
Brian
Luthor.
Azzarello miniseries
Yep.
that we were pointing out the other day, or not the other day, a couple weeks ago, like with that
Hmm.
character of Hope,
Yep.
who looks like that they're taking inspiration from with Engineer, that where that story's from. So you could definitely do something like that. I would love to see anything like that. That would be awesome. Like give me like because here's the thing, because it's like you're kind of cheating the system in a way. Like you're giving us IP stuff and you're making bank on that. However, you're technically giving us like really intriguing original stories that just has the coat of paint that it's an IP. So like it kind of it's like okay, like because everything's about superhero stuff, everything's
Dude,
about
and that's
established
perfect.
IPs, all that. But it's like okay, because usually that was the a source of like contention because like for instance the Hellraiser franchise is known for
Right.
just taking a script, a random script. Oh, this sounds good, put
Yep.
the Cenobites in it, yeah, that'll work. um usually it's not good, but I feel like if you really make something interesting, really make something good and have it be in this established IP, I think you can like if maybe it'll be like almost like a gateway of like original ideas coming back again, like how we were talking about yesterday. Again, the idea of like Hollywood needing to be broken down, burned down, and reborn eventually, hopefully like it was
Burn
in the
it all down.
60s to the 70s.
Yeah.
What like maybe a gateway into that is like okay, oh, you're getting a Joker movie, you're getting a Clayface movie, you're getting a Lex Luthor movie, but it's like actually like intriguing, like dramas, crime dramas, jukebox musicals, or body horror, or rom-com, or
Right.
or like a
Yeah.
Shakespearean tragedy, like, and it's just like, oh yeah, it has a little Batman thing, but like, oh, look at this hard-hitting like story we're creating here. And it'd be
Right.
like, and then people will like, okay, you come for the Batman mythos, you come for the DC mythos, you come for the Superman mythos, but you're staying because the story is just that good. So
Exactly.
maybe that's
Yeah.
the key to it all. I hope
Yeah.
that would
And
be the case.
absolutely. And to that end, I think the DCU will always be there to kind of give you that interconnect, like that Justice League Unlimited feel, where you got a world full of heroes giving you these iconic takes on them. and giving you a lot of the mainstream stuff. But then I think DC Elseworlds has the potential, and DC Elseworlds could be where all of these things live. It doesn't mean that Todd Phillips, this is gonna be the first DC Elseworlds project, right? Like when they release this. So, um, yeah, I mean, by the way, Geek Ledger was like, I have the perfect slogan for Lex: a metropolis for all. So, I mean, ultimately, these ideas, like this is the Hollywood studio wet dream. The fact that you don't have to take the risk of doing something that's completely non-IP, and yet, and it's because it has a Joker in it, or a Batman in it, or a Lex Luthor in it, or like you said, a Mr. Freeze in it or something. And yet it's not just like a coat of paint where you apply it and say, oh, it's just a romance movie or it's just a musical. It's truly like an original story that kind of
Mhm.
holds its own. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, this trailer is, it's still some of the footage, the shots in here blowing my mind. Just amazing stuff. Any final thoughts on your part, like with what we saw
Not
here? It's
really.
not a
Like
lot of footage, but it really
it's
leaves an
it's
effect on
something.
you.
Like I'm intrigued. Like I'm very like at the very least, if it intrigues me, it intrigues me. Like I'm really like getting excited for this. October can't come any sooner, like it usually is for me. I love October, love Halloween, so that's
Yeah,
perfect for
good.
that. So I just in a world right now where there's in the year of in the year of our Lord 2024, we're getting one movie per company, like,
Well,
and
not
we're
unless you're
getting
Sony Marvel. Sony Marvel, they're giving it three
but
times to you
yeah,
this
but
year.
like I'm talking about like the main two, Marvel and DC,
Right.
like true Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
We're getting one, and from the Marvel side, we're getting a third Deadpool movie, kind of adding into that
Yeah.
meta, stuff. We're getting all these characters that people love coming back and being sort of like a swan song to the Fox
The X-Men
X-Men.
Fox era.
Even though
Yeah.
I won't be seeing it because I still hate that they fucking brought Hugh Jackman back, I'm still salty. I don't care.
Wow,
I
really?
I'm still salty. I'm not. I refuse to see it.
Dude.
I'm not seeing it. Um, I'm still salty about that. But like at least with like okay, like it's something that it seems like it's unique because Ryan Reynolds adores this fucking character. He loves Deadpool. He is
Right.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
He lives and breathes Deadpool. So he's not good. He's been trying to get this character done properly since 2009. It took 7 years, but they got there, and now we're like kind of chugging along with this. Deadpool 2, I think, is even better than the first movie. And then with this one, not only like what it seems like we're gonna get like an intriguing look with this version of this Deadpool, but also now we're getting, this swan song to like this franchise that's unfortunately no longer with us because Disney are a bunch of greedy bastards. But hey, at least they'll give us like a whole good old what if, like, hey, remember, these good X-Men stories that we're gonna ruin in like 3 years' time? Yeah, have fun with that. But even then, like joking aside, like you're giving us what we want, like what the fans have wanted. They've wanted to see Deadpool and Wolverine side by side. It's a multiverse story. Multiverse is big now. Ryan Reynolds is like, okay, we're getting people that like know what they're doing, and like he's championing this character. He's making sure that it's done right, rated R, all this stuff. So we have that, which is very different from the assembly line shit that we've been getting for the last couple of years outside of Guardians 3. And then on this from DC we get fucking a jukebox musical love story crime drama. Like how fucking insane is that? Like obviously Marvel is more in line with like the more mainstream idea of comics, but at least it's still poking fun at the mainstream because Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, all that stuff. But it's like we're getting two very distinct things here. And this is kind of what it is. Just let them have a fucking break. Just don't be pumping out 6 movies every year from each company. Just let them like breathe. And then the 2024, yes, we're getting a lot of like TV stuff on the TV side, but in terms of movies, it's going to be a breather. It's going to be unique. It's going to be intriguing. Let's hope both are good for the sake of like I don't want the superhero movie to die so soon. Like, it's only been around for, like, in terms of like proper like cultural zeitgeist sort of thing, like for the past like
Since '08, since The Dark
uh
Knight did it.
yeah, since
The first
15
billion-dollar
16
superhero movie. Yeah.
15 16 years, like, come on, like, we still got like at least 10 more years to go, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
yeah. I
think,
mean, this genre is here to stay because the thing is these stories can fit into so many guises
yeah, I mean,
and
look at us. We're
there's
like pitching, like, just
yeah.
based on one superhero's rogue gallery is an entire pantheon of intriguing concepts and ideas. And that's just, villains of one hero. That's innately fascinating. So as long as like studios can like get the fucking like boner out of their pants and just be like, hey, fucking calm down. Let visionaries and creative forces actually do their thing and make these good movies instead of just chugging them out like, okay, we got to get it done by this release date, got to chug it out. The VFX, okay, VFX artists, you don't get a bathroom break, you're going to be paid 25 cents to the hour in this blah blah blah. No, just like let the visionaries do their thing, and the superhero movie can, soar and still be relevant, 75 years from now, than, die out in like 2 years. So just let it still be creative. Don't just do the same shit over and over again. And what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over
Same
again
thing
and
over and over
expecting
again.
different results.
Yeah,
So on that
exactly.
note,
That's
I leave you there.
absolutely. And that's so the definition of insanity was what DC was in 2023 because as much as I liked some of those movies like Blue Beetle and I had fun with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, um but ultimately even The Flash and Shazam Fury of the Gods, they all felt like the same thing with a different flavor of the same ice cream, like strawberry ice cream, chocolate ice cream and stuff, and just getting pumped out from a
Yeah.
factory. Like, they all sort of looked and felt very similar, very much like some of those Marvel movies in recent years that people, are clearly not taking to the way they did, like Phases 3, Phases 2, where we were getting the Winter Soldier, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. We were getting Black Panther, like, or like even like in the early DCEU, we got a couple of really good ones. Like, I still think Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice has a place in what it tried to do was very different and it fumbled in a lot of ways, but
Yes.
ultimately, it took a lot of risk. And then Wonder Woman like was a big deal. I mean, but now over the last few years, we've seemingly not been getting as much of that. Where each movie tries to do something very different and unique, and when they do, those are the movies that hit big. I think Shang-Chi was really fun to watch, for example, right? Like in terms of recent DC movies, of course, Joker we've been talking about. Joker Folie looks fantastic. And even moving forward, like this new Superman movie is going to be very different than any other Superman movie you've ever gone before. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that feels like, what that looks like. And DC's in a good place right now. Like, I'm still, so curious about just what kind of songs are we gonna get in this movie? I mean, do you think, just as a last point here, based on the music that we heard in this trailer, do you have any hint as to the kind of music beyond that we're gonna get? Are we gonna get a lot more of those throwbacks, like the Judy Garland musical? The song was it "That Is Entertainment"? Was it called
Yeah,
like
that's
this?
entertainment. So I think
Yeah,
we'll be getting a lot of old Hollywood stuff, and I think if they are gonna do new stuff, like if Lady Gaga is gonna do a couple of her own songs, I think it's gonna more be more of like a waltzy or an acoustic level sort of vibe with it. Like, yeah, like I wouldn't be shocked if like, okay, we get a newer song like "Hurt" by Nine Inch Nails, but it's like it's gonna be more of like like with that sheen of this movie, with this vibe of this movie, where it fits into that. I think that could be really cool. I know that's a major discussion on what songs we want for another day, but I think like I think it will have, like, kind of a similar vibe because we don't want it to be too tonally inconsistent because then it's gonna feel like a clip show almost where it's like, "Oh, this is inspired by this is inspired by
Right,
this is
right. We don't
inspired
want,
by
yeah,
this."
exactly. Yeah, you
We
gotta
don't
put the
want that.
story first at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
we
Like
don't
you gotta
want that.
focus on
So I
these
feel
characters and their
like
story.
we're gonna get the vibe of, like, similar things, but then you're gonna get, like, an alternative song, maybe then an old Hollywood type song, or then we'll get, like, um maybe like a metal song, but it's like not as hard hitting. And then maybe we'll get like a pop song, but again, like fitting into more of the so maybe we'll get all these different genres that will like be sort of like kind of like a blanket statement of like, okay, this is what we're going for. But even then, with how the human mind can go in terms of insanity and delusion, they could really play into that and like just like Joker having more of like an acid trip or the Joker having or like Harley Quinn having more of like the whimsical nature of it like we've seen or like that hard hitting, during what we saw later on in the trailer, I think after this, where we saw like, another riot, like kind of like the third act of the previous film. Like we can get various songs that fit into those vibes, obviously feeling the same, but like having, different genres under the same vibe, that I think would be cool to do because I feel like again, try to be like unique with it, try to be, really feeding into the folie et Dieu of it. So I yeah, I think they might do that. I think that could be a really cool idea and like to give us some sort of variety where it's not like, the same type of thing over and over again. So we'll get old school Hollywood, but we also might
This
get
looks like
some
it's a
like
courtroom getting blown up, by the way.
yeah,
I thought this, yeah, I just realized that for the first time. I'm like, that's
yeah.
giving me BVS vibes, and that's the Senate hearing that they had.
Hopefully nobody holds any Granny's peach tea. So as long as
Yeah, we
there's
don't
no
want that.
Granny's peach tea, we'll be fine.
Yeah, but it seems like this is how well, however they orchestrate their breakout from prison, it's going
Hmm.
to be a team effort, and maybe even some outside forces involved in that. And it's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's a teaser trailer at the end of the day. We've been here talking about it for an hour. I mean, I can only imagine how much we're gonna get out of the full trailer. Which now that this teaser trailer, by the way, was dropped as part of Warner Brothers CinemaCon presentation
Hmm.
today in Vegas. So which is meant for a lot of the theater owners out there. They get a presentation from all the big studios about what's coming down the pike from these studios, including Warner Brothers today. I think Universal did theirs yesterday, or they had a screening for Fall Guy. And as the week goes on, we'll have other studios present as well. And then
Yeah.
I'm sure, given that we just got the teaser, we're going to be getting a full trailer probably at Comic Con. That would make sense. Like James Gunn will probably bring the Superman crew. Todd Phillips is probably going to come by with hopefully Joaquin Phoenix and maybe Lady Gaga. I mean, chances are all three of those figures won't be there, but hopefully that's when we get to see like the next full trailer, because that would be right in line with a few months out from the movie, you get your first full trailer, and then you really ramp up the marketing from there. And I mean, this is already, we had the poster drop just was it last week. Now we have got the teaser trailer. This thing is starting to really shape up. As I mean, I was concerned for a while that we're getting a sequel to a movie that was never meant to have a sequel. How good is it going to be? And I think this trailer alone has dissuaded a lot of critics, including myself. And dude, like, it could be a Shakespearean tragedy. Like, if they want to turn this into a movie where, like you said, it's an idea that endures, or it's something where Joker's story continues and we have a trilogy, they could. But at the same time, I would not be shocked at this point if somehow we find like during the course of the movie Arthur Fleck dies. Like, that would that wouldn't surprise me, right? Then that's very definitively the end of Arthur Fleck's story. Like, I mean, by the way, Geek Ledger is just continuing to hit us with great ideas. I think, um, kaiju movies starting in the '60s are still going strong. Yep, they absolutely are. I mean, hey, nobody's getting tired of kaiju's. You can go watch Godzilla X Kong. I don't think the superhero genre is, going anywhere. It just continues to evolve and get better, and that's all we can hope for, all we can want. Um, I for one, um, am really excited to see where this movie goes. It's going to be over 2 hours, which is a decent amount of time. But if it's a good jukebox musical, then why not? 10:04:24, guys. That is October 4th of this year. It's coming. It's on its way. It's filmed for IMAX, which I love that idea. Um, I will tell you my favorite shot from this trailer, and I just want your favorite shot, and then we'll call it a night. I think I've referenced it already. This to me is the shot that took home the prize. That's why I put it on the thumbnail for this video today. I
Right.
think this is they're gonna put this on the poster, and they have something very similar on the poster, but it's this was the highlight of the trailer for me in terms of just shot composition, even though the rest of the trailer looked amazing too. What was
Of
for
course.
you like the best part of the trailer?
Oh god, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Cliche, just say the whole thing. No, but
The whole
like
thing.
I really liked this. I don't know why, just that scene of like him getting dragged in like what looks like this creepy basement of like Arkham State Hospital. I don't know why. That just like kind of really got me
Yeah.
there. That was a really cool shot. Like it just looks like it's part of his delusion, and it looks so unique and it looks so interesting. I don't know why, just that shot just looks really cool to me. Like, yeah, this is probably the best one of the trailer, but that one of him getting dragged was just so cool. I don't know, just like that hit me. That hit me at just the right spot, you know. So I like that one.
Yeah. That shot, that was a great shot. I'm actually trying to dig into like our images. I pulled in like 150 odd images here,
Mm,
and it's the amount, because the trailer is it's like a minute and a half. How long was the trailer?
I
Did you
think
get the
like two and a
runtime
half
for it?
minutes.
2.5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's a teaser trailer, but it's like about the length of a full trailer. It's really, you get a lot out of it. And yeah, we talked about it. Like, that shot in the trailer looks like it could fit into Michael Keaton's Batman movie. Like that, it was just gothic, um absolutely one of the best things. And all around, I mean, this movie, you go back to those steps, you're seeing Harley Quinn sort of becoming a fan. You see, this is, I don't know what was this their mute cute, I can't tell. You see Joker performing in prison. I mean, there's
Yeah,
some like
it
insane concepts.
that reminds me
So
of oh my god, him at the
yeah.
microphone reminds me of that
Yeah.
meme with Mike Wazowski,
Mike
like just
Wazowski.
him on the bar stool, like
Yeah.
going like this. I don't know why. It just made me laugh when I saw that.
Yep.
Like I just thought of Mike Wazowski. I'm like, haha.
Yep. And then I think from a cinematography standpoint, there's a lot of just these wild, crazy, um, shots where you're getting very kinetic photography. Like the camera's moving with the characters. It
Hmm.
feels like, I watched the recent Steven Spielberg West Side Story, and like the camera work, the way Spielberg directs that, and the way the camera just fluently moves throughout these scenes, especially when they're in dance numbers and all the songs. It feels like this movie is gonna have that. Like you see this
Hmm.
sequence here, it's almost like it sort of reminded me of La La Land. I'm sure it's a throwback to something else too,
Hmm.
but I'd love to see what this scene looks like and what song they're dancing to here, because it definitely feels like a vibe. And then there's that shot, the one him getting dragged. It just looks crazy. I'm like, my arm, like, I don't know, like, would they be able to drag me by my arm? Like, I don't, that sound looks painful.
I mean, to be fair,
Uh,
like Joaquin Phoenix looks like he weighs like 20 pounds soaking wet here, so
yeah, exactly,
that
which is
doesn't help
very
matters.
much
It.
in line with the first movie. I mean, and there's also some other news I want to kind of get into quickly before we finish, and we don't have to really dive into it too much. But recently, James Gunn has been posting a lot about, like, the Christopher Reeve Superman, and um, he got this new action figure. I was like, this was interesting. Let me just put that on screen for a sec. Um, Speaking of DC, uh, you could tell that this guy, I mean, Superman's a bit, sorry, James Gunn is a big Superman fan. And you like these boots. This is your style of boots, right? Like for Superman, like
Oh yeah.
costume or. So,
I don't
and you
like
like
the
the
bull. The
underoos.
bull just kind of ominous, but outside of that, it looks good.
uh, yeah, I mean, hey, Geek Ledger again. His favorite shot in the trailer of Joker was Arthur just looking in the cell, looking longingly at the camera. Just a perfect encapsulation of the first movie of the first movie. Yeah, it's that's a shot too that I really loved actually. Um, Here it is. This is the one. This is the trailer. Sort of hangs on this at the beginning for like a good 10 seconds,
Yeah,
and it's also this is great. Like the idea of him being lonely, just
yeah. I
alone and
I will
lonely, and
say
then he's
I
yeah.
did want to end something. I totally just remembered it right now. This is definitely how a trailer should
Mm-hmm.
be edited because
Yes.
we don't know anything about the fucking plot. We don't know anything
No.
about this movie, yet we want it now. We want it now. Like, give us the fucking
Yes.
movie
It ups
now.
your
And
excitement
so,
for the movie.
yeah,
It's
like it
yes.
doesn't reveal anything. Like, this should, here's the thing. I'm honestly kind of mad that this is called a teaser trailer. This should be the final trailer. This should be the
Yes.
full trailer.
It's
Like a
the bar
teaser
is high.
trailer. The
Yeah.
teaser
Yeah.
trailer should be like one or two shots, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
montage, and have it be like 30 seconds. Then
Mm-hmm.
maybe the full trailer would be like a minute, and then like the final trailer would be like 2 minutes. That's what I like. That's what I imagine. Like, this shouldn't be a teaser trailer. This should be the final trailer because
Mm-hmm.
it gets you enraptured in what is going on with this world, with these characters, with these both old and new, and the style, the everything. Yet we know nothing. We know so the only thing we know is what we've known from before, like, oh, it's going to be the origin of their love story between Harley and Joker. With that, nothing else. So that
Yeah.
this should be the example. Like, I will always say, like, if you want to see how a trailer, not a teaser trailer, not a full
Right.
trailer, but like a final trailer should be done, always go back to Alien. Alien is
Yeah.
the perfect trailer, and anybody who wants to like go into editing like trailers specifically, you watch that one. Watch that one. Forever and Always should be the the bar none bare maximum of how to do a trailer because we don't know anything. We don't see anything. Honestly, I might go rewatch that fucking trailer because I just rewatched that trailer because it's like I've seen that movie a bunch of times. I love Alien. Alien is an exceptional movie, but like watching that trailer just reminds me. I'm like, damn, I need to fucking watch this movie again because it's just that good. I know what happens. I've seen the movie, but it's like it's
Gets you
still
hyped,
like
dude. It's yeah.
fears fills me with like fucking fear and
I
edge
mean,
and like and that's what this
it's
trailer
yeah.
is like.
Absolutely.
That's what it should be. This
Mm-hmm.
is all we should get. Maybe one more trailer similar to this type of vibe with like
Yeah.
we don't know anything, but it's like different footage, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. We should get those two to get it.
Yeah.
When is Comic-Con? I never
Comic
remember
Con's
when.
usually is it July? Isn't it like July?
It's
I
usually
feel like
July, right? Okay.
yeah, July
So
or August.
that's
So
yeah, that's like perfect. You have this trailer, then the trailer in July, and then the movie comes out. That's 3 months intervals because that's 3 months from now, and then 3 months after that is we get the movie. So
yeah.
just get two trailers, both with similar vibes, with different footage, and that's it. We
Yeah.
don't need inundated with like every little minute fucking detail. Just give us this and that's all. This one more trailer, maybe. That's all we need. Don't
Yep.
fucking spoil this
Yep.
fucking movie. Don't
Dude, by
spoil
the
the
way,
movie.
I mean, they've already given us so much here. Like, just the fact that I was able to pull in like 100+ images, and and there's some useful information in all of them. Like right here, there's a news article one of the people is holding up, which says "free on all charges," and they're dancing down the steps. I'm sure that maybe this is the part that takes place in their head rather than in actuality, but with the shared madness. But it just feels like um there's enough here to speculate on the plot, but it doesn't give away the plot. And I think you're right. The perfect trailer is the kind of trailer that communicates the ideas of the movie without giving you the plot of the film, and yet it gives you a sense of who the characters are and some of the themes that the movie is going to be focused around. And this one does it. And for a sequel, where we already have some of that information and that context, it does a great job of setting the stage. And you can watch this trailer, and then now you're like, yes, here's my money, bring me into a movie theater, and let's play the movie. Bring on Nicole Kidman, let's do that the whole ad for AMC, and then give me the movie. I want to see this movie. And I'm excited. I mean, this looks amazing, and we've been here talking about it for so long, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it as we get more marketing information coming out, whether it's more posters, a follow-up trailer. And we have to do that episode. I think we're gonna either this week or sometime soon. We got to talk about now, based on the music that we have seen already and what we have heard about. What other songs are they gonna have in this movie? I'm really excited to talk about
Yeah.
that. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. I mean, this has been great. Comic-Con is on July 25th to the 28th. That's probably when we're gonna get the full trailer. I mean, that probably will be like 3 minutes long. This one was about 2 minutes and some change. And I hope that it doesn't spoil the movie for us. This one didn't, so I have a feeling that they're gonna stay on track with that. And hopefully, fingers crossed. But guys, the job of a good trailer is to up your excitement for the movie, and maybe even turn around your opinion. And if you were skeptical, like I and John were both a little skeptical about this movie and where they were going to go with it, but I mean, this trailer has completely blown us away. And if you're joining late, then just skip back, and we were just getting into all the Easter eggs. I think there's some throwbacks to Heath Ledger's Joker, The Dark Knight. There's a lot of callbacks to the first movie. We really start to get a sense of who Harley Quinn is. I mean, to the point that, as John pointed out, is this even Harley Quinn the way we know Harley Quinn or have known Harley Quinn for the past 10 years? It feels like a completely different character. I mean, and this movie could be a Shakespearean tragedy. It could be a Bonnie and Clyde sort of a movie. It could go in so many different directions. It's certainly a musical. Um, and as far as where the story goes, we'll get to find out. Is Folie a shared madness? Let us know in the comments what you think about that. And if you like content like this, of course, hit the like button. That helps us out. And hit the subscribe button. We are here Monday through Friday talking all things DC, DCU, even looking back at the DCEU sometimes, talking DC Elseworlds like the Penguin, coming out later this year as well. Also in October, it seems like they haven't given us a date, but it's going to be fall. So it's either going to be September, October, or somewhere around that time. And of course, October the 4th, we get to see Joker Folie à Deux. Now I'm excited for this movie. I'm now really, really excited for this movie. So the question is, are you guys excited? And if you are, then, stick around, because we'll be covering all the juicy details as they come out. So John, as always, it's been fun talking to you. And we'll be right back here, doing this all over again tomorrow on DCU Daily. So if you guys haven't gotten enough, then just swing back around tomorrow, and we'll be going through whether it's more news from Joker Folie à Deux, maybe something to do with Superman, maybe James Gunn will address some other rumors. We'll get into all of that and so much more. But until next time, guys, go out there, watch something DC related, and come back and talk to us about it. We love getting your opinions. Geek Ledger, Fiona, everybody who's been watching, thanks for stopping by, and we love your comments. We love the interaction, and we'll see you right back here next time on DCU Daily.